Hi guys, this is Zavi Wildman Hall, and this is my G-rated guide to getting women, getting girls, right? So why is it G-rated? Because this isn't going to be like a pickup artist or a red pill or any of this, but I think it's a very honest perspective, and a running theme in my channel and just my life philosophy is that life is simple, life is not easy. And my simple question for this, before we get into what are women attracted to, or you know, what do you need to do this, that? Um, Here's the simple question. Would you date yourself? Right? A really simple question. Would you date yourself? Like if you're a woman, would I want to date you as a man? You being me, right? Whoever you are, right? Like when you look in the mirror, and that's why I chose this background. I was trying to find something of a man looking at himself in the mirror. And because it basically comes down to a law of attraction, right? Like you've all guys heard the secret, this and that, but it's just real simple. Like attracts like, quality attracts quality. And at the end of the day, whatever it is that you're looking for in a partner, the number one way you're going to be able to attract that is by becoming what you want. So I believe, and this is my opinion. Um, Listen, if you want a beautiful partner, girlfriend, wife, whoever, um, make yourself more physically attractive yourself, right? Like if you want a smart, successful, intelligent person, becomes more smart, more intelligent, more successful. And I've done videos about this too, but listen, if you want to get more intelligent, you can read more books, you can travel, you can expand your mind. Yeah, if you want to make more money, it's not going to be easy, but you can do it. You can work on your career, you can start a business, whatever it is that's your vision of your ideal self. Um, I just think so many people, so much of the advice out there is like, how can you get a girl? How do you get her like you, this, that, dress this way, and that, and I think at the root of it, it's a lot simpler, right? It's just once if you take an honest look at yourself, you'd be like, okay, am I making enough money that I would want to date myself? Like, could I do fun things if I was dating myself? Like enough money that we could do some fun things, or um, you know, is this person fun to be around? Right? You know, would you want to hang out with someone who's not fun? Who's someone you can't laugh with? Probably not. I don't care how good looking they are or how much money they make, but if you can't just have a good time with them, yeah, you probably don't want to. So this is what I'm saying. When you look in the mirror and stuff, be honest with yourself. What are your strengths? Well, what do you have to offer, and where are you lacking? And if you're really honest with yourself, it'll be really clear what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. And that's the first step, right? Like that's the most important step. If you do identify like, I'm kind of lacking in this field or that field, guess what? You might get your feelings hurt when you realize that, but in the long run, you just did yourself a huge favor because now you can take practical steps to get closer to being the person that you would want to be with, right? So if you want to be with like a pretty fun, charismatic girl, well, work on being, those things, right? Um, if you look in the mirror and if you're quite honest, and you're like, well, I probably don't make enough money that if I was a girl, I wouldn't want to date me. Well, okay, you got your answer there. Now you can take the steps to make enough money. Um, I don't know, like as a side note, a personal anecdote, I've lived all over the world, and some of the countries I've lived in, I'm considered much better above average financially than the local population, even though realistically I wasn't, super rich. I wasn't stockbroker or lawyer or whatever, right? Like, but one of the things I really loved about living those places is that I was good enough as just myself, right? Like I feel like somewhere like the United States, you're in this constant rat race where you're constantly trying to get better than the status quo, and it's just so hard to do to attain this almost fantasy level of or unrealistic level of success, that's portrayed by like media, right? Sometimes it feels like you almost would have to be a rock star, right? But the reality is you don't have to be a rock star. You just have to be a solid dude, right? You have to be someone who's able to look themselves in the mirror, someone who's able to stand up tall, someone who knows what their values and convictions are. And that because they have values and convictions, they have boundaries, right? And those boundaries aren't anything crazy, but they're boundaries of self-respect. And no one's going to respect yourself if you don't first. Why should they, right? Like, and so just whatever it is you have to do to get your sense of self-worth, of self-value, right? Like, to know who you are, whether that's a test or a responsibility, or maybe even just giving back to the community through some type of voluntary work or service, whatever it is that you brainstorm and come up with, um, if you can look yourself in the mirror and stand tall and just have a sense of value about yourself and knowing that you have something to offer to the world, uh, then other people will see that too. Women will see that too. Um, but I wouldn't focus on how you're going to trick women into dating you, or what are the tactics, what are the conversation tactics, all that stuff. Um, I believe that most of that stuff will come actively if you just put yourself out there. If you work on bettering yourself, you work on talking to strangers, you put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and obviously there is a learning curve, and obviously there are practical steps and skills and small stuff that you can do, but um at the end of the day, I don't think you can fake self-confidence long term. I know some guys who are really good at getting girls in the beginning. They're really good at getting girls to like, go out with them on dates, or you maybe taking them home the first time. But once the women get to actually know who they really are, they run for the hills. It's almost like they got tricked because they met some guy that's really confident and funny, but then they realize that same guy is a hot mess and barely has his life together. So on the other hand, if you actually are quality, the more they get to know you, the more that attraction is going to grow for you. The more they're going to value, the more they're going to have emotion and feel connection to you. And that's the hardest part to do, right? It is that second part. Just the initial part of meeting people, or getting the first date, all that's all stuff that can be added once you have the foundation of quality. So yeah, guys, this is my G-rated, guide to getting women. And I felt this need to do it because it's just a really simple but obvious aspect that I feel like that's overlooked, right? It's just how uh, how are you, honestly, how are you evaluating yourself? Or would you be good enough for yourself? Because if you're not doing well with women, or you're not doing well with stuff, besides women, you know, your answer very well likely might be no. And especially if you're a younger man, you're starting out in in your life path, your answer will almost definitely be no. Like there's definitely stuff you have to grow into, that you have to work towards. And that's okay. You shouldn't be ashamed of that. You should take pride in knowing that now you know where you need to get to. Now you know practical things that you can do to get where you wanted, to have the life you want, to have the companionship you want, to have the things you want out of life. But it's not going to happen if you're waiting for it to just fall in your lap. That's not how life works. If you want stuff, this like the guy who wrote the game, Neil Strauss, he had this really great quote in the book The Game. He said, oftentimes in life, what you want is nearby, but just out of grasp, and life is making you work to actually get it. It's not going to just give it to you. It's nearby, but it's out of grasp. And that's 100% true. That those are very wise words. So understand that a lot of the stuff you want in life is attainable, but it's just outside of your grasp, and you're going to have to work to get that there, to bridge that gap, to get what's it's in sight, but it's not in your hands yet. Anyways, guys, this is Savvy Wildman Hall. I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, take care.